Right, so welcome to our first class, this session on resilience and thriving. And today we're working on a concept, working with or looking at a concept called resourcing. So what do we do when we feel anxious, we feel upset or angry, or anxiety is a big one these days. So we are living in a pandemic. And even if you're watching this recording after, in the after times, hopefully soon, um, life can be stressful, and even when we don't really acknowledge or feel that stress, in a really profound or in an intense way, it's often there under the surface. So just living in our culture is kind of a stressful experience. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of multitasking. There's things dinging all the time, wanting our attention, and that has an impact and an effect on our nervous systems. And so resourcing helps us to come back to a place that feels comfortable, that feels good or grounded within ourselves. It doesn't solve all our problems, but it gives us a little bit of a way of moving in or out of, ideally, that anxiety. And when we move back in, we can move out. So it's not that we're going to eliminate all anxiety or all challenges in our lives, but that we start to build tools, or more tools, because I'm sure at this point in your life you've got tools to deal with your anxiety, but building more tools to help us sort of move through that with a bit more grace and a bit more ease when that tension in our own body starts to rise. So we're going to start seated today. So be comfortable. If you want to be in a chair, that's fine. If you want to be on the floor, that's fine. The main thing is that you want to be comfortable. So resourcing really is all about our own comfort, our own ease, our own ability to relate to our bodies, to be in our bodies as comfortably as possible. So if there is pain in your body, if you're really distracted by pain in your body, I invite you to notice that pain, but not dwell on it, right? So if there's areas of discomfort or pain, by all means, don't ignore them, but don't try not to dwell in those areas. So coming to a comfortable seat. Okay, so we'll start with the idea of creating a sense of being grounded. So grounding is one of the sort of key tools for resourcing to come back to this moment. So it's really a mindfulness practice to come back to this particular moment and to feel yourself connected to the earth. So let's start there today. So wherever you're sitting, if you're on a chair, it might be your feet on the floor and your sit bones on the chair. Maybe parts of your legs are on the floor if you're cross-legged. So just noticing what part of your body makes a connection to the ground, to the earth, and bringing your attention there. So feeling the pressure. If it helps you to envision roots going down from the parts of your body that are connected to the earth, you can imagine roots going into the earth from your body. But most importantly, feeling that there is a connection to the earth, that your body and the earth are meeting each other in some way or another, right? Through the floor, through the chair, whatever it is. And start to feel as though you could relax a little bit into the support of the ground. So feel your shoulders come down away from your ears. Feel the tension soften in your jaw, in your face. And allow your breath to come with as much ease as possible. Your eyes can be open or closed, whatever is comfortable for you. Then I invite you to bring into mind a place, a person, a feeling that is a good feeling for you. So maybe it's somebody that when you're in their presence, you just feel good all the time, or maybe it's a place. For me, place has such an ability to ground me. So you might imagine a place in nature. Or maybe it's an object. Maybe it's even something that you can see right there in your space. So I invite you to find some connection with something in your mind that helps you to feel good. And take a moment to picture that thing, and if nothing comes to you easily, maybe just sit with the question and see what arises in time. And then I'm going to invite you to create an intention. So an intention is a generally short, simple statement that you make to yourself about what you are hoping to or wanting to receive as a benefit from. It could be just this practice today, or maybe for the whole session that we're going to do together. So let's take a big breath in and reach the arms up and bring the hands together. And then bring the hands down in front of your heart and pause there for a moment. And tune into what bubbles up for you in terms of intention. What would you like to, or what do you hope to receive in a benefit from this class? And what is your goal? Why are you taking this class today? Why did you show up? So maybe you'd like to work on feeling more grounded in your life, maybe a little more focused. Maybe you just want to focus on your breath and relax today. So just take a moment in your own words, in your own mind, creating an intention. And when you have access to that intention, when something has come for you, and again, if it doesn't, just sit with the question. We're going to take that intention, lift it. And with a big exhale, send it out into the space all around you. And then let your hands just come to rest comfortably on your lap or on your legs and your knees. And if your eyes have been closed, I invite you to open your eyes now. And we'll work with one more resourcing tool. So we've already worked with grounding, and we've worked with intention. And so our third resourcing tool that we will work with is called orienting. And so what happens if we are anxious, or we're startled, or our nervous system has a bit of a charge to it? We tend to go into tunnel vision, and we kind of glare at whatever it is. And if you imagine an animal, a prey animal, out on the open forest, on the savanna, and they hear a sound, they're going to lift their head and they're going to look towards where they saw that sound. And we do the same things as human beings. Our nervous systems are actually set up the same way. So you've probably had this experience where you've heard a sound and your body startles, you become tense, and you look to where that sound was. Right? So when we bring ourselves into tunnel vision, it's a stress response in the body. So orienting is a way of counteracting that. So it's really taking in our environment on a bigger scale. So not just what is the threat, what is that sound, but taking in the whole environment. So I invite you to just simply move your head around, look around your space, take in the colors, the sights. Notice if you bring your eyes to something that feels comforting and maybe pause there. Notice the colors of things. So you're just really taking in your environment and noticing. Great. And then you can come back to just a relaxed gaze at whatever is in front of you, whatever draws your attention. And at the same time, widen your peripheral vision. So you're seeing what's all around the sides of your vision as well as what's right in front of you. And when we open up that peripheral vision, again, it's telling the body there's no threat. And so our body tells our brain there's a threat, and our brain communicates back to our body. So we're trying to get those systems in line, right? Our brain might know there's no threat when something falls off the counter, but our body still startles and our body still has a stress response, right? So when our body has a stress response, we want to give it time. It goes up, we want to give it time to come back down. So orienting can be a really great way of doing that. So we get startled, we look towards something, and then we go, oh, we're safe, we're fine, and there's no threat. And we can allow our gaze to shift around again. We can allow this opening of our peripheral vision. And that, from our brain, tells our body, everything's good, we're all good here. So you can use those tools anywhere, grounding, setting your intention or creating a goal for the next period of time that you're working with, and then orienting. Right, so let's start a little bit of movement with these ideas in mind. And if you start to feel anxiety during this class, you can always come back to one of these orienting tools, grounding yourself or orienting around the room are great options. All right, so moving into the movement part of the practice now. So we'll start with movement of the spine. So the spine houses the central nervous system. So it's how the nerves run from our brain to the rest of our body, right? So housing our central nervous system. And the health of our spine also has the spine is the physical center of our body and the structural sort of center of our body. So making sure that we have a comfort in the spine is going to radiate out to all parts of the body. So we'll start with this little bit of a flexion and extension of the spine. So we're arching the back a little bit, the tailbone lifts, the shoulders move back, the head lifts slightly, and then we round the back. So when it comes to resourcing, we want to always make sure that we're comfortable in our bodies. Right? So I grew up in an environment of learning yoga that was very kind of about pushing the body, part of my training, and another part was about really honoring the body. And where I've landed over time is that my body and my psyche responds so much better to the kindness and to the goodness than to the forcing and the pushing. And our nervous systems are built that same way. So if you want to coordinate breath here, inhale as you arch, exhale as you round. You can let the head come down, allow the back of the neck to get a little stretch. And move in a pace that's comfortable for you. I often give these breath cues, but they're always optional. And we want to just keep checking in constantly. Is this right for me? Does this feel good for me today? Great, and let's come back to the center. We'll take the feet a little bit wider here. I also want to say, if you are dealing with any injuries or issues or illnesses in your body, to even more so, honor your body, listen, back off. Less is more. Do less if you're not sure. Don't do something or do a smaller version of it, a lighter version of it. You can always, contact me afterwards to ask questions. Is this right for me? So just really honoring whatever's going on for you. Let's make some circles now. So keeping the hands on the thighs. You can be cross-legged or on a chair as I am, whatever is comfortable. And as you move, see if you can tune in and notice what you feel in your body. Where do you feel the movement? Do you feel some stretch? Another way of coming sort of back into what's called our window of tolerance, when our nervous system is kind of in that stress response, to come back to a relaxed response, is to really tune into how your body feels. And we'll get more into that next week. Let's go the other way as well. This feels really good to my body. Just simple, simple movement, and my body's saying yes. So really listen. If your body is saying yes, continue on. If your body's going, I don't know, or no, then that's a great indication to change it up for yourself. So let's come back to a comfortable seat. You want to feel your sit bones on the chair or on the ground. Okay, and we'll work a little bit with the shoulders now. So we'll lift the arms up and keep the elbows at shoulder height or lower, and draw the elbows down and back. And then we'll bring the elbows in towards each other. And you can round your back here a little bit. So if we turn sideways, you can round as you come in and arch as you open. So elbows go down and back, chest lifts, and then elbows come in. You can bring your head down, round your upper back. Inhale if you want to coordinate your breath here. Inhale as you open, exhale as you close. Again, breath cues are optional, but breath itself is not. So I want to keep breathing. And if you just sit in this class and breathe and listen, that may be enough for you today. Great. And then after the last time, with open arms, we're going to release and bring that hands down to rest on the lap. And we're going to pause here for a moment. So another resourcing tool is to slow down, right? When we are in a stress state, everything feels fast, everything feels faster. And so to slow down, to pause, to take a breath, to take a moment. So let's pause here, take a moment, and notice, how does our body feel after that little bit of movement so far? And we're really going slow today, which can be challenging if we're used to rushing around. But our nervous system just eats it up. It's like nourishment for the nervous system when we slow down, when we take easeful breaths. So notice, how does your body feel now? How does your breath feel? So we'll stay seated. If you ever at any point need to change your position, stretch your legs out or anything, especially if you're sitting on the floor, please listen to your body and do that. We're going to work with a little bit of twisting now, and we're going to use the core to twist as opposed to leverage. So we're going to get the hands out of the way. So you can bring your hands onto your shoulders. Elbows can be sort of anywhere from down at your sides to parallel to the ground, just wherever it's comfortable for you. If they're too high, it brings your shoulders up and starts to be uncomfortable. So a little lower than shoulder height is good. We're going to lift up nice and tall and then turn to one side. And then come back to the center. Keep both your sitting bones anchored as you turn to the other side. So the beautiful thing about this twist is it's really difficult to go too far because we're not using our hands to leverage and force our bodies. We're using our core and the muscles all around the rib cage to help to twist the body. So actually strengthening as well as bringing some movement into the spine, massaging the organs within the body with the twist. Make sure you're breathing. Right, and then let's come to one side and stay for a few breaths. Feel how your muscles are working to hold you here, and if you feel like you're working too hard, back off a little bit. Really check in with your breath. If your breath is relaxed, then that's a good indication that your body is also relaxed. And let's try the other side. So coming to you, feel that little bit of effort and staying there. Great. And then let's come back to the center. You can release the arms into circles now. And don't let just the shoulders move. Let your whole back start to move a little bit with this. You can round and come back upright again. Right, and then let's go the other direction. And then come back to the center again. You can let your hands come down to rest. And let's take another moment to tune in, to notice. So we just did some work around the shoulders, a little bit around the rib cage and the core with the twist. So tuning in, what are you aware of now? What do you notice now? What draws your attention? And then lifting the arms straight up in front. You can arch the back a little as long as that's comfortable. And then we'll bring the hands onto the legs. You can come forward any amount. So it may be a different amount whether you're sitting on a chair or the floor. And we'll lift back up again. So you're coming up. This time we're hinging at the hips. So kind of keeping a long spine and just bending forward at the hip joints. So breathing in as you lift up. If you're coordinating breath, it's always an option. Coming forward as you exhale. Okay, let's stay in the forward bend for a few breaths. So you can either rest on your forearms, or you can let your chest rest on your thighs, or you can bring your hands to your legs, whatever's comfortable for you. Try to let your head relax so the back of the neck releases. Taking a few breaths here. And when you're ready to come up, if you find it helpful, you can bring your hands first onto your thighs, support yourself as you come back upright. Come back to a comfortable seated position. We'll do a little bit of work for the neck now. And as always, be very gentle, be very cautious with your neck. Necks can be quite delicate. And if you have pain in your neck, which if you have a pain in your neck, then please honor that. So looking to one side, and we're going to turn the head just until we feel a bit of restriction. And notice where your body says, that's enough, before there's any kind of pain or discomfort. Just that first little bit of restriction. And then come back to the center, turn your head the other way, notice, where's that first little bit of restriction? Does it feel the same? Does it feel different? And then back to the center. And then chin down toward the chest. Take a few breaths here. And slowly bringing it back to center. And then turning to the first side again, just going to that point where you feel a bit of resistance. And then very slowly, a little half circle. And go super slowly so you can feel as you go where the stretch changes, how the stretch changes, if you're able to be aware of that. So coming up to the other side and then making a little half circle to come back. So you go side to side like that a few times. And I really encourage you to go slowly and tune in. So again, going slowly is one of our resourcing tools, slowing down. And tuning into what we feel is another. And again, we're going to get more into that next week. And eventually, as you come back to the center, chin toward the chest, pause there again. See if you can find a little more release in your neck if possible. So your head is just hanging, but the spine is upright. If there's pain, just come out of this position anytime. And then slowly lift your head. Take a deep breath and exhale. Find your roots again. Feel your sit bones. Feel whatever part of your body is on the ground. Come back to your intention for today's class. Good. And if your eyes are closed, you can open them. And again, just find a view of the whole space as much as possible. So you're tuned into the periphery, all the things that are sort of around what's right in front of you. And then we're going to come to stand now. So you can take your time. If you're on the floor and your legs may have gone a bit numb or fallen asleep, make sure you take the time to wake them up. And then if you have a mat, you can come onto your mat. If not, just wherever you're comfortable in your space. And bring your feet so they're right under your sit bones. So they're about hip distance apart. So hips are not the hip distance is not the widest part of your hips, but if you find these two bones in the front and kind of look down, your feet are in that sort of line. So I have an itchy nose today, so sorry for doing a lot of that. All right, so then find your grounding again. So let your heels sink down into the earth. Feel how your feet are connected to the earth. Feel the whole of your feet. So the heels take a little bit more of the weight. But you want to feel the balls of your feet, the toes. Each toe separately even. You can wiggle them around and find some sensation with your toes. Maybe spread them apart. So it's really getting intimate between your feet and the ground. Right. And then again, open your peripheral vision. Take in the space around you in this standing position. And then tune in. Are you comfortable here? Are you relaxed here? Or is your mind sort of saying, let's get on with it? Right? And that is such a normal thing when we're used to kind of go, go, go. Now, that may not be your experience at all. Right? Your experience may be that there's not enough on the go and you need a little more energizing. So let's just tune into what's true for us each in this moment. Right. And then you can take your feet just a little bit wider now, so they're maybe about the distance of your shoulders. Soften your knees so you can bend and straighten a few times, just to make sure you're not bringing tension into your ankles and knees. Okay, and then you can bring your hands onto your hips just to get them out of the way, and we'll do a few circles with the hips. So again, I really encourage you, just as with the neck circles, to move slowly and to notice. So I know for me, some parts of these circles feel not much sensation, than other parts there's lots of sensation and stretch. If I were to go too far, I might push myself into discomfort. So I'm really honoring my body and finding ease with these circles. There might be some clunking, there might be some creaking. If there's pain, I really do encourage you to make the circles even smaller. So maybe your circles are just an inch, or maybe you go more to one side and then you honor some tightness or some stiffness in the other side. And then try different movements. So like maybe a figure 8 movement. And then you can try the other direction. And if this gets a bit too much for your brain, just any movement that feels good. Right? It doesn't have to be any particular shape. Lovely. And then let's come right back to the center. If you're still comfortable with your feet this wide, you can leave them here. You can bring them in a little bit more if you prefer. We'll work on side bending now. So we want to really feel our feet going down into the earth, feel grounded. You can keep that softness in the knees. So when you lock the knees, you tend to lock the whole body. So we want to keep the softness in the knees. And we'll go side to side. So we'll take one arm up and we're going to reach up and a little bit over, just again, so you feel that first bit of resistance. And then we'll come up and switch arms and go to the other side. Okay, so we're coming up and switching, reaching up as you go over, and you're really tuning in. Where does my body say that's enough? That might look completely different from my body. Maybe you just raise your arm part way and your body says that's enough, right? Or maybe you're almost touching the ground with your lower arm. Great. Find a position where you can stay for a few breaths and really tune into this lower arm. Just let it relax. So we're not pushing and holding ourselves. We want to be able to be in this position in such a way that there's no tension. Right? I could go further, then it would lot more work. So we're just really trying to find that first edge. Okay, and let's come back up. We'll lift the other arm, and same thing. So we're lifting mostly up, a little over. We're finding the ease in the body. Jaw soft, gaze soft, so notice. Can you be aware of what's in your periphery as you hold this pose? Okay, and come on back. So I've taught classes where I've seen people where they're really out of their comfort zone, and I can tell by the look on their face, by the tension in their bodies, and we really don't want to go to that place. It doesn't serve us, it doesn't do us any good, it doesn't make anything move faster. In fact, it has the opposite effect because our bodies resist. Our nervous system says, whoa, you're trying to hurt me, and we clamp down. So let's come into a forward bend now. So I'm going to show you from the side so that you can see the shape of my spine. So we're going to open and lift the arms. And then as you come forward, bend your knees, keep your spine long, and bring your hands to your thighs. So you've got that nice length in your spine, and then come back up again. So you can breathe in as you come up, breathe out as you go forward. Of course, you can also follow whatever breath rhythm works better for you if that's not quite right. So bend the knees, long spine. Good. This time we'll stay here, so hands on the thighs. If it's better for you, you can bring your elbows to your thighs, let your head release. And then for those of you who are comfortable here and you're not dealing with any kind of high blood pressure or pressure in your head of any kind, like sinuses, eye pressure, ear pressure, and if it feels good to your back, so lots of caveats here, you can let the body fall fully forward. So knees are still bent. You could clasp your arms or just let them dangle. Again, other options, hands or elbows on the legs. So we're going to come up with a nice long spine. So again, let the knees bend so you can kind of use them to help spring. Take the arms out to the sides, lift all the way up, breathing in. And exhale to release. Great. So we're going to work a little bit to release some of the joints in the legs. So we're going to be having a bit of balance here. So if you've got a wall that's handy to hold on to, if you need it, you can. Or you may want to use a chair to help with your balance. So you can have the chair to one side. So we're going to, actually I'll move back a bit so my feet are visible. So you can either come onto the toes of one foot or lift that foot all together as you circle the ankle. Make sure you're not holding your breath. So often when we're working with balance, and especially if it's kind of challenging and you're wobbling around, tend to hold the breath. For this one, balance isn't really the point, right? So if you can balance, great. If you want to hold on, great. Other times we're working on balance, so I encourage you not to use a prop. Right? And then you can bring the leg up any amount. So it could be toes on the ground or it could be as high as parallel to the ground. So whatever works for you. And then swing the lower leg. So the higher your upper leg is, the more challenging this is. Right, let's bring that foot down for a moment. You can give that leg a shake. And then bring the hand to the hip. We'll do one more on this side. So we're going to lift that leg. We're going to take it out to the side and then bring it back down. So again, lift, out to the side and down. And one more time. So our standing leg, my standing leg is starting to feel that it's doing some work. And then shake both legs out. Great. You can move your chair to the other side or you can turn around. That'll just make it a bit easier to have some room for this leg to move. So again, your toes on the ground as you circle, or you can lift the leg right up, circling the ankle. Great. And then again, lifting the knee any amount and swinging the lower leg. So this upper leg stays in the same place. Swinging the lower leg. Great. And then you can bring the hand to the hip and do a few circles. Great. All right. So the next one, part of the point is to work a little bit with balance. So I would invite you to not use a chair or a wall. And I think that you can do this no matter how your balance is in a safe way. So, but if you feel unsafe, please, please use the props that you have. We're basically just walking on the spot. So you can either just lift your heels and go side to side, or you can lift your whole foot and go side to side. And this is actually a resourcing tool. So bilateral movements in the body, rhythmic bilateral movements like this, like walking, is really good to help to regulate the nervous system. So that's why they say, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxious, go out for a walk. It actually does help. Now, to coordinate a little bit more here and to use a little bit more of the left-right brain connection, you can swing the arms. So as one leg lifts, the other arm lifts. Make sure you're breathing. So again, when you start to coordinate too many things in your brain, your breath is usually the first to go. Great. Okay, and let's come back to center. So both feet flat on the floor. And here, again, you might want to use something to hold on to. It may or may not be necessary. We're going to keep both feet on the ground, but we're going to lift the heels and just kind of bounce. So again, holding on might be good. This is not about balance so much. It's just about shaking and releasing the body. So another resourcing tool, if you feel yourself getting anxious or getting spun out in your head, sometimes just shaking can kind of settle everything back down. Great. And then feet a little bit wider, arms soft, shake with your heels on the ground now. Good. And then you can shake all over, just however feels good. Even make some noise. It actually helps. Another resourcing tool is just making noise and getting it out of your system. Right? So when our nervous system gets all triggered or activated, what needs to happen is we need to let that energy out, right? That's why we fight or flee, is because we're burning off the energy that comes up when we have some kind of trigger, some kind of scare or stress. And so actually just moving your body, doing anything, right? This is why people go for a run or for a walk when they're stressed out, because it actually helps. The physical movement helps, and it drains that energy from the system. Sitting on the couch doing nothing, drinking alcohol, those kinds of things, those actually make it worse. All right, so let's come back to mountain pose, back to this feeling of grounding, heels going down into the earth. Shoulders dropping away from the ears, crown of the head lifting. And then letting your gaze expand, so you're taking in the periphery. Wonderful. So we'll work a little bit to stretch the back of the legs from standing position. Here, a chair can be helpful to support you, but it's not necessary. You can do this with your hands coming onto your body somewhere. So we're gonna, if you've got a chair, you can stand a little back from it. If not, don't worry about it. I'll show you 2 ways to do this. And you're gonna take a step towards your chair, and it's just a small step, not not a huge step. The back foot can turn out to the side a little bit, and that's just gonna help you have some good balance here. And then if you remember when we bent forward earlier with a long spine and bent knees, we're gonna bend the front knee now. You're gonna lift the arms up. And then come forward, bring your hands either onto your thigh or onto the chair. And then we want to think about lifting the tail, lifting the chest a little bit until you find some stretch in the back of your front leg. Now, if you don't feel any stretch, you can Move that leg straighter and bend it a little bit. And you'll probably feel some stretch as it goes straighter. And if you still don't feel any stretch, you can let your body come lower over the chair. So we're just rocking here. If your hands are on your knee, you can still do this moving straight, but you don't want to push against your thigh and lock your knee. So you'll just let the leg come almost straight and then release. Great, and then find the place where you have a nice stretch. Pause for a couple of breaths. Really tune in. Are you honoring your body or are you trying to push? Okay. And whatever you do in yoga is what you do in life. Right? So if you're a pusher in life, you're probably going to try to push to the maximum here. And if you're someone who doesn't tend to, really give it your all, you're probably going to be a little lazier here too. So it can inform you a little bit more about how you show up in the world as well as how you show up on the mat. Let's come up now. So you're going to lift up, raising the arms, and then releasing. The other thing I want to say is you have full agency. So if I'm in a pose still and I'm talking away and you're ready to come out, please, please do. So don't wait until I say so. Your body is your teacher. I'm just here to kind of guide you through a practice. So other foot forward, and the back foot again can turn a little bit to the side so you've got some good balance. You want to keep softness in that front knee, so we're never locking it. It can bend more, but we don't want to bring it so it's hyperextended or locked. So a little bend there, reaching up with the breath in, and then coming forward. Again, bend the knee as much as you need to. Lift your tail a little bit. So you want to find just a little bit of arch in the back if possible. If that's enough stretch for you, you can just stay here and enjoy. You can bend the knee more to have less stretch. Or if you want a little bit more stretch, work on moving the leg a little straighter and then bending. A little straighter and bending. Again, if there's a place where you can find just a nice stretch, so the leg is as straight as it needs to be to feel the stretch, but not so straight, again, that you're forcing or creating resistance. You can stay here and breathe. And again, when you're ready, bending the knee, coming all the way up. Reaching up and then releasing the arms. Okay, so let's bring the feet back together. You can still face the chair if you're using a chair. Again, you can do it without if you don't have one. And so we'll do a forward bend now. So again, it's either hands to the knees or hands to the chair. So we'll take a breath in and come up. We're going to bend the knees. Keep the spine long. Bring the hands to the thighs or the chair. Let the head come down. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, forward again. Breath cues are optional. Breathing itself is not. Right. And then next time you come upright, we'll stay up and release the arms down. So if you've been using a chair, we can just move it aside for now. We're going to make our way down onto the mat. So take your time. If you need your chair to help you, to support you to get down, great. And then you're coming down, right onto your back. You can let the arms either rest out to the sides or come to rest on your body. And again, we'll come back to where we started today with grounding, intention. So feeling your body on the ground. Let your breath settle, slowing things down again. So feel where the earth or the ground, whatever you're on, makes contact with your body makes contact with the ground. And see if you can soften those contact points, kind of melt a little bit. And let's come back to your intention. So do you remember your intention that you created at the beginning of the practice? Your intention for this class or your intention for this series of classes? And basically, what are you hoping to get in terms of benefit? What are you willing to put in? Maybe your intention is to make it to as many live classes as possible. Or maybe your intention is to do the classes by the recordings more than once a week or whatever it is. And whatever your intention is, just bring it back into your mind now. And as you breathe, breathe that intention right down into your bones. Okay, and again, we'll move into a bit of gentle movement. So always honoring your body. As we bring one knee in toward the chest, you can decide, do you want to hold on to the knee? Do you want to hold on over or behind the thigh? Where would feel good for you? So you can play around with that. Drawing that knee in and tuning into what you notice as you do this. So is this comfortable for you? Do you need to adjust or move the knee a little further away or closer in to be more comfortable? And then if you like, and this is optional, you can stretch out the opposite leg. That'll give you a little bit more stretch into the front of that hip. And then again, optional, but if it feels good to you, you can start to bring some movement into that leg that is up in toward your chest. You might do some circles or some figure eights or take the leg side to side. Whatever would feel good. Okay, and then coming back to the center, you can bring that foot to the floor. Maybe bend both knees for a moment. And we'll press into the feet, lift the hips an inch or two off the ground, and then bring them back down. Tune in, does your spine feel in line with your shoulders and hips, or are you kind of off to one side? And if you're still a little bit off kilter, you can lift again and come back to settle. And then other knee into the chest, and again, you're going to tune in. What would feel good here? Hands over, hands under, maybe no hands at all. Take a moment to soften and relax here. If you want, you can, again, extend the opposite leg. And again, optional if you want to add some movement to this leg that is up in towards your body. You can do some nice easy movements here. Circles, figure eight, side to side, just random movements, really whatever would feel good, and honor your own limits. Again, when you feel complete with that, bring the foot down, then the opposite leg. Again, you might want to press into the feet, lift the hips to find that levelness between hips, spine, and shoulders, and then come on back down. Let's take your arms to the sides now, and you can let your knees release one way and then the other, and really go slowly here, so tune in. So don't go all the way right off the bat. Really notice, where's my first little bit of resistance? For me, it's right there, literally right there. Not very far, just a few inches to the side. Now I can go further. Over time, my body says yes. Until eventually maybe my knees come even closer to the ground. So tuning in, checking in, honoring your body every step of the way. If it feels good to you to stay, go ahead and stay. So you can be in the twist to one direction. And if you want less twist or more twist, so less twist, you're going to take the leg that's up closer to the ceiling. For less twist, you're going to point the knee closer to the ceiling. For more twist, you're going to take that leg and bring it across your body further. So here again, you have all the control as to what would feel good for you. When you come back to center, if you've been staying on one side, you can stay on the other side, or you might just keep moving side to side, or you can come to center and stop anytime. So again, less stretch, the top knee points at the ceiling. More stretch, it's going to come down and move across the body. So listen for that little yes in your body. If you don't get it, then try something else or come out of the pose altogether. Eventually, you're going to make your way back to center. Again, you'll probably want to lift up your hips and guide them back to a place that feels centered with your spine and shoulders. And then we're going to bring both knees into the body. So here, drawing the knees in, moving the knees away. Drawing in, moving away. If you want to coordinate your breath, exhale as you come in, inhale as you move away. If this feels uncomfortable for you with both legs or it feels like a strain, do one leg at a time, a few times, and then switch. So for everything we do, there's generally an option to make it easier. There's generally an option to make it more challenging. So the more experienced you are, the more you might be aware of those things already. I try to give you options, and you're also welcome to explore. Let's make some circles with both legs now going in opposite directions. So you can come in, let the knees come apart, circle around, back together and back in. Or you can go the other way, going out first, circling around, and coming back in. And then when you're ready, you can bring your feet back to the ground. We're going to move into Shavasana now, which is the relaxation part of the class. So you can be in any position that's comfortable for you. So knees bent. If you have your knees bent, I would recommend, if it's comfortable for your hips, to take your feet wider than your hips. Let your knees fall together so you don't have to hold them up. You can also stretch your legs straight out. You can bring a bolster or a folded blanket under your knees if you like. A blanket under your head, a blanket over your body. So basically what I'm saying is take a moment now to get comfortable. If you want to sit up for Shavasana, you're more than welcome to sit. Most people prefer to lie down, but if sitting is better for you, you're more than welcome to sit. So take your time, get comfortable. So for Shavasana, eyes can be open or closed. Most people find it more relaxing to have the eyes closed during Shavasana, but for some people it feels more comfortable with eyes open. If you choose to have your eyes open, you might, again, kind of tune into that idea of being aware of what's all around you, but softening your gaze now. So you're not looking at any one thing, you're just aware of the space around you. So as you come to your comfortable position, finding a sense of the ground beneath you again, feeling that support, letting your body soften into that support. So if you are well supported, there's no effort whatsoever required to be lying down. It's not possible, not humanly possible, for us to completely relax our muscles 100% because even at rest they have some tone. But we want to work on letting go of what we can consciously release. So let's start with the focus on the breath and a feeling as you exhale of softening even a little bit more. Exhale, dropping down, sinking down, releasing, relaxing. Soften your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Relax your neck, your jaw, and your face. Exhaling, release and relax all around your rib cage, your chest, your upper back, shoulder blades. Soften and relax your belly, your lower back. And let your pelvis sink down into the earth, whether you're sitting or lying down. Whatever part of your pelvis is on the ground, feel that it gets just a little bit heavier. Soften the muscles of the pelvic floor as much as possible. The base of the spine, softening the thighs. Relaxing your knees, your calves. Relaxing your ankles and your feet. Letting the breath come and go with as much ease as possible. With each exhalation, continuing to feel that sense of support, sinking down and letting go, letting the earth support you. In today's chant that I'll share with you, it's a very, very simple one word. The word in Sanskrit is Shanti, and it means peace in English. And so as I repeat the sound Shanti, it's actually Shanti when it's chanted. As I repeat that sound, you can also repeat it in your own mind. You can also repeat the sound peace if you feel more comfortable with the English. And imagine as you repeat this sound, as you listen and repeat it in your own mind, that that peace is moving into your cells, into all the cells of your body. So you can chant along in your own mind with me, or just listen, and imagine peace going to all of your cells with your breath, with your intention. Shanti. 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 And pausing here to notice. How does your body feel now? What are you aware of? Are you able to find some part of your body that feels good right now, that feels relaxed, that feels resourced, that feels comfortable, even if it's just your baby finger or the tip of your nose? And if you find some place in your body that feels good right now, send it peace. And invite it to share that peace with the rest of your body, the rest of your being. And then as you start to feel inspired to move, you can deepen your breath a little bit, add some gentle movement to your body. Maybe start with your fingers and toes, your ankles, wrists, whatever feels good. And gradually making those movements bigger in whatever way your body enjoys. And then finding your way to seated if you like. So you can always stay a little longer in Shavasana if you prefer. That is one of the beauties of practicing at home. If you're ready to get on with your day and come back upright, take your time, roll to your side, use your hand to support you, all of that good stuff so that you don't bring more tension into your body after releasing tension. So as you come upright, you might bring the hands either one palm to palm or one over the other on your chest, whatever feels good for you. Take a moment to come back to your intention. And if it feels appropriate, if it's an appropriate intention for you to carry into your day, you might create that intention. And if not, maybe just this idea of carrying some of the peace or whatever resourcing you've managed to connect with today, taking that into your life. May peace be with you through the day. Namaste.